Man, oh man, Bears fans, we have a depressing one today. Bears lose 15-18 against the Commanders. You had chances. You had way too many chances, as a matter of fact. Your defense again holds the opposing team to 21 or less, and you can't close it out. At the end of the game, you go for the 2-point conversion and gain it to force them to have to go for a field goal, and you don't put a man behind the jump ball to prevent a touchdown. Unbelievable. Let's talk about this. Quarterback to quarterback, comparing. Jaden Daniels, 21 of 38, goes 326 yards and a touchdown. Caleb Williams, 10 of 24 for 131. In the first half of the game, Caleb Williams left a lot of guys wide open. He was overthrowing and underthrowing balls and throwing a couple of balls too quick for the wide receiver to react to. However, he didn't let it get to him when it came down to crunch time. The final 2 drives of the game, he tried as best as he could to help the Bears score. Now, that first drive, Shane Waldron 100% fucked up and tried to hand the ball off to a lineman like we were the 1985 Bears and get a touchdown. I don't know why they thought that would work. When you're that close to the touchdown or to the end zone, you 100% give the ball to Roschon Johnson or DeAndre Swift 100% of the time. 100% of the time. You should give that ball to Johnson or Swift every single time. And then we learned from that, because the drive after that, we go and get 7 with Roschon Johnson at the goal line. Punches it through. But that's here nor there. DeAndre Swift had 18 carries for 129 yards. He got himself a touchdown. The thing that I'm mad about is that where was Cole Kmet like all game? We did not see Cole Kmet hardly at all today. Hardly at all. That's a guy that you lean on a lot. That is a guy that you lean on a lot, and you should have leaned on him today, knowing how the Commanders play ball, and you couldn't do it. Also, on top of that, I think that the Bears defense while they played very, very well because they were able to not allow them to score a touchdown until that Hail Mary, the Bears were giving up way too many chunk yards. Way too many chunk yards. You should not be allowing the Commanders to be getting into the red zone as often as you did. Can't do it. Not to mention Terry McLaurin. He's never had more than 40 yards against Jalen Johnson. And today he had 125 yards on 5 receptions. You know what's crazy about that is that in every other game that the Bears have played against the Commanders, Jalen Johnson flips sides of the field depending on which side of the field McLaurin is on. I didn't notice that today. There was a lot of times I saw Blackwell and I saw Stevenson in coverage against McLaurin. You 100% should have stuck your number 1 on their number 1. All game long, that should have been the game plan. Should have done what you did last year. And I think that, on our side of the ball, DJ Moore should have been targeted more. Now, don't get me wrong. The offensive line played terrible today. Absolutely terrible. There's no reason why Caleb Williams had to have been scrambling for his life today, because you have proven that you can give him time. Even with the holes that you have in your offensive line, you have proven that you can give him time. There's no reason why our offensive line should have looked as bad as it did today. I blame a lot of that on the play calling, because Shane Waldron, what the hell were you doing today? Did you take the bye week completely off and go off on vacation and just not think about Bears football? Because I'm used to seeing quarter 1 Chicago Bears football being absolutely abysmal. But that carried all the way into halftime, all the way through the third quarter. We didn't show up until there was like 6 minutes left in the game. Shane Waldron, you should be ashamed of yourself. As a matter of fact, you should be walked out of Hallis Hall tomorrow. I am sick of seeing the same 15 plays in quarter 1 and not getting a drive. I'm sick of seeing 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. I'm sick of seeing all of it. You have way too much talent on your offense. Given your offensive line struggles, you have way too much offensive talent to be calling the plays that you're calling. They go all the way into halftime. All the way into halftime. We don't score in the first quarter. Sometimes we score in the second. We have the worst scoring differential leading into halftime in the entire fucking league because of the way that you call plays. It's ridiculous. And I get it. Caleb Williams overthrew Odunze wide open. He overthrew Moore wide open and Allen wide open, and he underthrew a pass or two in there too. But your scheming and how you called the plays today allowed that to happen. There was too much quarterback pressure all game long. You did not game plan for Washington's defense. You game planned for the second worst secondary in the entire league. You did not game plan for the worst defensive line in the league. That's exactly what you did. Shane Waldron, I'm talking to you. You game planned for Caleb Williams to get that ball in the air all day long. You could tell just by how all the plays were designed and ran, which would have worked great if he didn't have pressures that were having to force him to get rid of the ball so fast that you couldn't get those chunk plays. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. The player of the game today, in my mind, 100% Tory Taylor. It is 100% Tory Taylor. He flipped the field for the Chicago Bears so many times and allowed you to stay in the game, along with the Bears defense. I mean, I'll give the Bears defense my entire hat today. They gave you so many chances to stay in the game. So many chances. There was that one point where it should have been 21-0 Commanders, and the defense kept you in the game. They held the Commanders to 3 field goals, as a matter of fact. And then your offense finally shows up and gets a touchdown plus a conversion, and you couldn't be smart enough to keep a man behind the jump ball on a Hail Mary for a guy who's got broken fucking ribs. Ah, man. I sure hope that this is... I sure hope that the Bears as a whole learns from this, because you got New England coming up and you have the Cardinals coming up, and you better win those 2 games. 100% you need to win those 2 games, because you got divisional play coming up, and losing today just makes it harder. Losing today just makes it harder to keep yourself within those talks, because you should have been 5-2 up until that Hail Mary. You were 5-2 until that Hail Mary. And now you got your... everything's an uphill battle from here, because Green Bay and Minnesota and Detroit is going to be looking at this game, and they're going to know exactly what to do on defense to get to Williams now. And you went from being able to go 3-3 on these divisional games to now you got to go 5-1, which makes it extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Depending on if you can beat New England and the Cardinals, and I think you got Seattle and 49ers in there. If you're able to win those non-divisional games, maybe you can get lucky with going 4-2 in your divisional games, but it's more looking like you're going to have to go 5-1. Because now Washington has a tiebreaker over you, so you better hope to God that they fall from grace, because that's your only option at this point. They got the tiebreaker over you, so you gotta win every non-divisional game from here on out, and you're either gonna have to go 4-2 or 5-1. So, Bears fans, I was hoping to get on here and be loud about how number 1 showed up with 2 drives left, but The only one play that the defense was not there all game long was the one where it mattered. And that's not to overshadow how the defense played all game long. The defense played outstanding all game long. They really did. They played great all game long. On to next week, Chicago Bears fans. On to next week. Hopefully we bounce back. Hopefully we learn from this and we take this into our divisional play, because divisional play is going to be this and worse. So we'll see what happens. Bears fans, if you like the video, comment on the video, share your thoughts, subscribe, send it to a friend. Let's have a conversation. I will see you in the next one.